Welcome to Quite Simply, where we quite simply have a chat about whatever's on my mind while I do my LED masking. There are no fancy lights, there are no fancy cameras, there are no fancy microphones, it's just me and my budget LED mask. Today we're talking about why you'll never ever find me in a gym. Now, I did go to a gym once for all of 6 months. It was when I decided I thought I might like to train to become a policewoman and eventually never was able to run fast enough, and I speak about that in my running video. But yeah, I did it. I went and I signed up. Now, I'll preface this by saying I am not comfortable exercising around people. I like to run, as close to darkness as possible, or not at times when I know no one's really going to be around. I just feel awkward. That's who I am. That's who I've always been. More so when I was younger, which is when I went and signed up for this gym. It was not a fancy gym. It was budget. It was in the bottom of a really basic hotel. It was dingy. I The machines worked, but there weren't many of them and they weren't fancy. It had a hydraulic weightlifting room, and then it had this other room where you had mats and Swiss balls and then proper like weights for the dude bros, because that's the only people I ever saw using it to do their weightlifting. Which, how times have changed, because, I see a lot of women doing that now. It's awesome. But back then it was just this core group of men who would sit around in a huddle chatting and every now and then doing a lift. It was all very awkward for me to be around, which, was more on me than them. They were fine. I was just self-conscious. Anyway, it also had a squash court and a pool, which is kind of, the main reason I thought, okay, it would be nicer if every now and then I can go for a swim rather than, do what was my plan to get my cardio up. And anyway, so it's one of those gyms that in hindsight I should have realised that there were some red flags, but we didn't know what red flags were back in the day. But, it all started off like fine enough, and I signed up and I had to go and do some exercises with a trainer just so that they could assess my level of fitness, which was nothing. I had no fitness. And then, yeah, so the trainer was like, okay, cool. Well, if you can meet these goals, I'll take you out for a steak dinner. And I was like, oh no, because to be honest, he kind of gave me I guess the youths would call it the ick. I just didn't want to spend my free time eating steak with the man. And when he was just like, no, I do it for all my, my clients. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'll just do my exercises. It'll be fine. So that was probably the first red flag, because it just feels wrong to me to this day for a trainer to be, taking people out for steak if they meet their goals and then pushing it when you say no. Anyway, so that happened, but I ignored it because, like I said, this place was affordable and I could afford it, and it was just up the road from work. And so I got myself a program in which I would do some cardio, either on the step machine or on the treadmill. And then I would go into the hydraulic lifting weight area and do my work there. And then I would finish off with some core work on Swiss balls and mats in the big proper weights room. And I did that all up for 6 months. During that time, I learned how to play squash. I also learned that you have to be very fit to even begin playing squash. And I learned that by trying to play squash and nearly vomiting my ring out after a couple of minutes. But I discovered I actually really enjoy squash. I should play it more, but I don't even know where I'd play it where I live. Oh well. Anyway, that's quite simply something for me to maybe look into. So yeah, what made me leave the gym and never, ever, ever, ever set foot in one ever again? Well, it was one of those days. I'd done my cardio, I'd done my running, I'd gone into the hydraulic weight lifting room, and I was working on one machine where you had to hold on to the sides and then you drop into a squat and then you push yourself back up. And I thought I was doing an all right job, as best as I knew how. It didn't have mirrors in that room, so I couldn't see how I was looking. I just had to go by feel. And nobody had ever told me to do it any other way. And so there I was, squatting up and down quite merrily. And then out of nowhere, I hear, "Your form is horrible." And I just turned around, look up, and see one of the other trainers, who was also another trainer who gave me the ick. Who were they hiring? Just looking straight at me. And he was just like, your form is horrible. And I was like, okay. And I tried to adjust my form, but he didn't come and help me, and I didn't know what to do. And so I quickly finished my reps and went into the other room to just hang around with all the dude bros, getting, while I was doing my crunches and stretches and finishing up. And I left that day and I never ever came back. And I never, ever, ever have set foot in a gym since. It was horrible. It was humiliating. I don't understand why a trainer felt the need to yell at me across the room with all these people around telling me my form is horrible when he could have easily just come up, said to me, hey, this is how you fix it, getting me all sorted out, and then going on his merry way. But no, he chose humiliation over gentle instruction. And that is why I will never, ever, 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 ever set foot in a gym again. Just not worth it. I'll just stick to going running in the dark and doing yoga at home. Thank you very much. So yes, that's quite simply my little tale for today. I hope you're all doing good. We're in the middle of the holiday season madness here. I'm trying to avoid doing my Boxing Day sale shopping, trying to ignore the millions of emails coming in with all the deals, telling myself I don't need to buy more makeup, that's 50% off, telling myself I don't need to go and buy more shoes. Wish me luck. Hope you're having a good one. Talk to you again later. Bye.